Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. It sounds absolutely incredible. It's just amazing. So glad I repaired this radio and upgraded to Bluetooth. Today we are giving this 1969 Magnavox Astro-Sonic a second chance to sing. Watch the complete transformation as we fixed audio issues, giving it a full service, and add Bluetooth capability to bring this mid-century icon into the modern era. Let's get started. A few weeks ago, my daughter contacted me and she told me that she found a radio that she really liked on Facebook Marketplace for about $30. She sent me a picture of it and I told her, I said, honey, this furniture has already been painted. She says she liked it since it matched her furniture. I said, no problem, let's go check it out. When we went there, the radio was already on, and immediately I could tell it's not performing very well an AM and FM station. You know, it was working, but it didn't sound that great. I told her, no problem, I can fix this for you, but I never work on turntable. Let's see if we can fix that one as well. So let's see if I can fix this for her, since she was so excited when she purchased this, and I want to do my best to fix this for her. And to make your job easier to find all these videos per category, select playlist, and each categories are located right here. Also, I have added every tool product that I'm using in the description section of the video, so feel free to check it out. Let me share with you how I removed the radio from this cabinet, this Magnavox. The way they design it, don't ask me why, I guess they did this so you need a special tool. I ordered a special tool that I find online, of course come from California. I'm in Florida, as you know. It will take over a week to get here and I don't have patience to wait. There are nuts like this, okay? See the design? There's 4 of this that it need to be removed. And you need to have a special tool, as I mentioned. You know, so what I did, I got a couple of like this nut like this. The size that I use, see, it goes through here, but it doesn't go through that thread area. You see that? So I got 4 different size of drill, from the small size like this. See, I hold it with a plier like that. I put the driller in the lowest speed. I start drilling it. I start from a small size, go gradually to higher size. The trick, put it in a slow speed, and it will take time to go through. Let me show you the result. So I'm going to put this here, this nut here, because again our plan is to remove this. This is the one I drilled, as you see. It goes right here. See? I can open it. Bring it here close, you see. See? So that's what you need. With the other one like this, it was not working because it wasn't passing through here. See that? That's why I drilled this. So now it's working. Of course, as I mentioned, I ordered one online, but it will take some time to get here. And when I remove that radio, be able to start working on it. So this is what I did to make my job easier. You can use like a wrench like that, put over it. That's 11 millimeter. But I did this temporary to be able to remove the radio again from the cabinet so I can start working on it. Hopefully this will help you. Finally this is out. Man, it was tough. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clean this with soap and water. Of course the back is looking good. You see, these are the 4 areas that I mentioned. that you have to use some type of tool to remove that nut that we discussed earlier. And these are one here on the balance, another one here on and off, and all the way up where the base is right here. These are the only 4 you're going to remove. So let me wash this with soap and water. All right. Okay, there's 2 screws here, one there. I need to remove these 2, be able to lift the radio up. And these are the 2 screws that I removed. I highly suggest take tons of pictures and video for every wires that you're removing from the radio or turntable, so later on you remember how to put them back. Alright, these 2 long wires that it comes from radio hook up right here. The darker one is in the top. Alright. The lighter one looks like white in the bottom. I think we got it all. Some of the label was loose in the cabinet. I didn't want to get lost, so I started gluing them back to the cabinet for the future reference. The good thing about this glue, when it dry, it's clear. That's how I could find what model it was. The model was right there. Finally, I removed this and I brought it to my workbench. Since the radio was in my daughter's house, I couldn't bring that big furniture here. So I took this out as well as a turntable, so be able to check all the capacitors. You see, this is a transistor version, it's not a tube version, as you can see. It should be around 1969 or so. So you see, there's so many capacitors that need to be checked. I do not have a schematic for this, but the good thing about this unit is in the back, of course you have to be very careful with this. You see, this is the back. It identified almost everything here, what they are. I need to start checking one by one. Start with a large capacitor to a small capacitor to see which one is still in good condition and which one they are not. I'm going to use the test equipment that I purchased to be able to test those capacitors right in the circuit. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, so hopefully it will work for this. See, it shows where the capacitors are, all the circles. At least it makes the job much easier to know where you need to test. Alright, let me do that. Of course, when you turn it upside down, you have to be careful not to damage anything here underneath. Yeah, I can just set it like this, like that, and be able to test each of them. See, that's the front. I don't want to remove all this part of, antenna, AM antenna. So let me start testing the capacitor one by one and get back with you. Hopefully they're all going to be okay. Otherwise, I have to order those capacitors since I do not have those type of large capacitor in my inventory. Anytime I want to work on the chassis, I always discharge the capacitors. Always. And it doesn't matter how long the chassis is sitting without being used. Since I want to protect my test equipment. So it's pretty simple, really. I usually get some high value, like this one, very high value ohm, resistor, something like this. Got an old multimeter like this. In the end, I add a couple of alligator clamp. Now with these two, I can touch the capacitor and make sure they discharge. Some people, they don't use the resistor, and I suggest pretty highly to do that. Because if the capacitor is charged and you don't have resistor, it might mess up the capacitor because really you're going to shorten the connection To me, it makes more sense to use resistor. Be able to protect capacitors. I don't want to mess up the capacitor. Using this process, I never had any issue with any type of capacitor. So now I can just actually touch each capacitor connection like that to discharge it. And this is the proper way of doing it. Again, to protect your equipment. And finish the rest of them and get back with you. Okay, this large capacitor is supposed to be 2000 microfarad. This is 3364 microfarad. It's very, very high. I'm going to test a few more to double check. Like this one right here. This thing was not even reading it earlier when I tried. Yeah, that's not reading that one. What I will do, I'm going to remove that from the board. I'm going to remeasure it to see if it can read it or not. As I mentioned, sometimes the capacitor, it doesn't read this. I have to remove it. Okay, let me take care of that. And just remove this capacitor. This is the one that it wasn't reading. It says 500 microfarad, 50 volts. Let's see if it's going to read it this time or not. This is plus and minus. You see it's reading it. That's what I was trying to say. Sometime, when the capacitor is on board, this unit does not read it. It's a 595 microfarad. Alright, let's key that 500 microfarads into this again, capacitor tolerance. An electrolytic capacitor, of course. That's a 500. That's a microfarad. You're going to select again 20%. Here our system shows for 500 microfarad the minimum can be 400 and maximum value can be 600. Of course, as you saw when we were testing that capacitor on the board, it was not showing any type of data. That's the 50 volts. The ESR, that's the important number. 50, we're going to come to 470. 470 is 0.28. That's a good one. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you have to remove the capacitor with this unit. Should not be that way, but that's the way it is. And they were expensive too. They were not that cheap. Pay good money for it. I spent hours on the internet and I was not able to find a schematic for this radio. Of course, every radio I work on, I cannot find schematics. So I logged into the antique radios. They have a section for the forums. I created a request. I asked if anybody have the schematic or at least the part list for this radio so I know what type of capacitor I need to order. In a short period of time, they got back with me and was able to find what I was looking for. So I'm going to order all the capacitors. This is a great place to go if you have any question, if you cannot find something on internet. There's a bunch of people here. They're very helpful and, through the years, they helped me out a lot. One thing I did to make my job easier, since there is a 22 electrolytic capacitor in this radio, that's a lot to keep up with. So I looked through the schematics and also checked it in back of the PC board in this radio, as well in the front. The good thing about this chassis is that they marked every parts right on the PC board. So it makes the job much easier to identify them. Create an Excel spreadsheet and put all those electrolytic capacitors on this list as you see here. I record the value of each capacitor as well as the voltage. As you see in this list, a few of them are already pulled out and record the values as well here, just for reference to see how off they are. I suggest to do it this way. It's going to make your job much easier. Alright, a couple of days ago I received all the parts, all the capacitors that I ordered for this Magnavox, which is my daughter's radio. She's very excited about this, you know. I'm happy for that. I'm trying to replace all the capacitors and also clean all the contacts, which I will show you what product I'm going to use. So I'm going to change it one by one. And this is a capacitor that I pulled out. This one is a 2000 microfarad, 50 volts. Of course, this is 1969 or so. That's why it's so large. The new one is much smaller. Let me show you. As you can see right here is a 2063 volts. As you know, the voltage can be as high as you want. You know, I want to change it from 50 to higher voltage. I thought just order something can handle higher voltage. Let's install this. See, the old one, it has 5 connections. 4 of them is the negative side and the middle one is a positive. I assume since this capacitor was too large, the new one of course is much smaller, I showed you earlier. To support the weight of this capacitor, they put different ports that you could solder it right here. Is this 4? We know this is positive because right here mark it positive and this is negative. You see the negatives continue going there. So that's why they continue this for the supporting the weight. The new one we really don't need to do that, it's so small. The positive goes here, the negative goes here because it's continue going that direction. But this one is not connected to any other. You see there's nothing else. It's just by itself. And they continued here, so you can solder it here as well. Again, I assume to handle the weight of this capacitor. It is pretty heavy. So let me install that. I'm going to start removing one by one, installing all the capacitors. As I mentioned, I ordered all capacitor for this. Since this is going to be, you know, her radio, I don't want to have any issue with it. That's why I'm replacing every capacitor. The majority of this capacitor, they were in a good range, but still I'm going to replace all of them since they are almost 60 years old, you know. With this capacitor, they mark it here black. That means this side is negative. Every capacitor, the short wire is negative, the longer wire is positive. You see, if you continue, it's negative. Here they marked it. I don't know why they didn't mark this side. Could be much easier to find, but they did it right here. Okay, let me install this. All right, let's solder this. Let's cut the extra wire off. I'm going to use the same process to replace all of them. One thing I suggest to do, look through the part list. If you don't have the part list, every capacitor you take out, you know, mark them. See what I did here. Here I show what type of capacitor it is, what is the part list shows, the voltage, and when I was testing it, look how off it was. You see that? Even I put the ohm reading on that. So you see how off they were. If you look at all of them, they were so off. So replace one by one. As soon as you replace it, highlight, mark it so you know you replace that one. Since there is too many of them, do not remove all at the same time. Do not do that. It gets so confusing. It will take you a lot of time trying to figure these things out. The best, create a list like this. Make your job easier, you know. It really helped me a lot. Hopefully it will help you too. All right, all the 22 capacitors are replaced. I use this desoldering iron And I'm going to add this to description section of this video. Very reasonable price. Check it out. The only thing, when you hook it up to electricity, you have to wait 3 to 5 minutes to heat up, but after that it does a great job. It makes the job much easier instead of using regular soldering iron. So all of them replaced, and what I did, I went through this board. Under magnifying glass, I check almost all the soldering, and majority of time you will see cold solder in this type of board, and everything is looking good. A few of them was questionable, so I retouched them. Next, what I will do, I'm going to use this rubbing alcohol. Is about 90% alcohol. With cotton swab, I will clean all the area that I soldered. Make sure to do that. See, I'm just cleaning those area that I soldered. That's all you have to do. You see, the cotton swab gets a little dirty because you're removing the flux. When you were soldering, the flux got in those areas, so that's why you're cleaning them. Alright, I'm going to continue doing the rest. Alright, next what I'm going to do, clean all this contact. I don't know if you see it or not. I'm going to take a picture before cleaning it. You see how bad it is. Since again the radio is 60 years old or so, you need to clean all this contact. This one, all of them, this, that one. There's so many of them. Even this one here. They all need to be lubricated and clean. These are the products that I'm going to use. That I'm going to add them to the description section of this video. Feel free to check it out to clean all the controls. There are about 7 of them here, include this one. Now these products are used for different control. So I'm going to use this product to volume control, to other control right there, and there's another one that corner right there. Alright? So the red one I'm going to use to clean this type of thing. You know, this one, that one, that one. It's important, you know, if you use this for everything, you're going to have issue down the road with your volume control. It's not going to sound great. You know, this is what you want to use. Hopefully this makes sense. You know, both of them also comes in this type of, you know, container that you can actually use a drop, you know, a couple of drops in each of them. I'm going to take this outside. I'm going to use a spray to clean all those. Of course, after you're spraying it, you're going to turn this nose back and forth, back and forth several times, and that will clean it. Alright? Hopefully this makes sense and will help you for your project. Check the description section of this video. I add all this product. Feel free to check them out. I'm very happy with them. They do a great job. You see, this switch is cleaned and it's much better. That's the type of result you're looking for. Next, I'm going to take this out, this glass, to clean it. You see how dirty it is. This all need to be cleaned. I want to show you this couple of tools that I have. This one really designed to take those nuts out. You see, fit perfect. But when you're removing this from the cabin, as I mentioned, I create something like this, and this worked very well. Of course, this does not work with this. You see, this is too small for here. See that? So they use 2 different designs. The largest one just to hold everything in the place, and that's a tool I can use, or you can also use a wrench. This is much easier, of course, to use since there's not enough space there to use different type of wrench. And of course this one to remove the cover, as I showed you earlier. Alright, so let me take this out. And I don't want to damage it, of course. It seems like there's a clip here that somehow I need to remove this clip. I might turn the radio over to be able to see what's going on. Alright, this is a clip right here. It seems like you just pull it out this way. Let me try. It should be very gentle not to crack the glass. You see, this is what I'm talking about right here. See that? So I'm going to get a small screwdriver like that, go right here in the opening and try to lift it like that. It comes out. Just be very gentle. Okay, finally it came off. See, this is how it looks like. See that? So be very gentle when you take this out. You see right here under the glass there is some type of like a tape that is holding here. Double-sided tape. I have to remove it to clean this. Just gonna wiggle it a little bit. Yeah. So you just wiggle it a little bit like that. See the double-sided tape? Alright, it is out. You see, this is the tape I was talking about. So let me clean this and install it back. I hope I can wash this. You do not want to use any type of chemical to clean this, like a Windex or anything like that. You might damage all this. I'm going to try, one of this logo in the side right here to see if I use soap and water, does this going to come off or not. If it doesn't, then I can clean everything with soap and water. Let me remove this. Later on I can install it back. Right here, double-sided tape. This is how it looks like. Very dirty, as you see. So let me take care of this and get back with you. Alright, this is totally clean and it's safe to use soap and water. That's what I used. So let's install it back. And we're going to put this clip back. So just gently you push it back. Don't force it, as soon as stop, let it go. Since I washed this is start coming apart. I'm going to use this type of glue. I'm going to add this in the description section to be able to put this back where it was. Alright? I'm going to focus on this. I already cleaned all the top. It looks much better. There was so much dirt in there. So I'm going to remove this to check underneath. I already used a screwdriver, pop this out. Alright, what I did, I just left this up, turn it so I can take this out. I'm just going to check to see if everything needs to be lubricated or not. Definitely needs some good cleaning. There's a lot of joints here. Yeah, this needs to come out and also be lubricated. I'm going to use a small screwdriver like this. Okay, that's one out as well. Man, it's so small. I guess this should come out. Yeah. I need to put some grease here. And this is like a rubber. It still is in good condition. Just need to be cleaned. Alright, everything is cleaned. And clean the shaft, lubricate it. Also clean all this. This is where the motor is. I cleaned it first inside and then lubricated the shaft as well. Same thing here. So all this been lubricated and cleaned. And this is the product I used. I'm going to put it in the description section of this video. The good thing about this is, you can pull this out and you can make it as long as you want to be able to get to the parts. It's a very good product, it lubricated very well. Alright, I'm going to add this again to the description section. Feel free to check it out. Now let me put this pen back in and see how small it is. Goes right here. Of course, the same place I took it off. Also lubricate right here this bearing. You put it, you lubricate right here so it goes here inside as well. Alright? You want to lubricate everywhere to make sure that everything is fine. Be very careful with these wires. They're very, very thin. They're the thickness of hair or so. They're very thin. Be very careful when you clean that, you don't cut it. I'm going to use some synthetic grease. I already put grease over that. See, the bearing came out as well. I'm just gonna grease it. Already did inside the shaft. Now this is, I'm gonna put the other side of where this bearing this time came out with it. Alright, now you see, now I can install it. We don't want to put too much grease, just a little bit. Don't overdo it. Okay. Some grease got in this shaft. I'm going to clean it. Since this is where, the vinyl sits, so I don't want that grease get in here, so I'm cleaning the shaft only, right this area. Since these units are sitting for so long, it's a good idea to take some of the parts and lubricate it. Some area need grease, of course, as you saw what I did. See, now it turns very smooth. So let's put this in. Yeah, put my finger over it and press it. Alright, that's in. We're going to lubricate just the top section. Just a little bit. If it's too much, you can remove it with cotton swab. Alright? So all lubricant is here done. Let's go underneath, do the same thing. I see there's a plastic underneath here. You see this little wheel here? I see some of the teeth already messed up. Yeah, there's some of them. They're not in that great condition. Darn, that's going to be a hard part to find. Alright, underneath, this is the gear I was talking about. I don't want to take it out. We're going to test it on the radio. There's still some thread left, but it's not as much as thread as in the top. Here, majority of them is gone. Where you're touching this wheel. When you look at it, you see where the old grease was. So I'm going to clean those with just cotton swab and add some more. I'm going to look to see underneath where else need to be lubricated. Anywhere that I see that they lubricate before, I'm going to lubricate it as well. Or if there's any grease, any area like here has some grease, I need to add those as well. So let me spend some time here, clean them with the cotton swab and then add some grease. Then hopefully we are done. And I'm hoping this is going to work because of that wheel. The original turntable needle, as you see next couple of pictures, was broken. So I had to go online, try to find some. I already ordered a needle for it. That's the original needle that I purchased. Believe it or not, it came all the way from Alaska. Took a while, but it's a brand new. It's a 1965 model. I'm hoping that's going to work well. Since those was designed, for this radio, so I'm hoping everything's going to work well. I went to ChatGPT, put some information here how to remove the needle from the turntable and also model number. It gave me a detail, a step by step what to do. One thing, definitely you do not need to take everything apart. Do not do that. The needle actually can snap in and snap out, and here it walks you through step by step how to do it. I did not video that portion since it was so hard to video, and actually replacing that needle is very fragile part. Hopefully this will help you as well. I guess we're going to install it inside the radio. Since I don't have the radio here, I need to take this to my daughter's house, install it in the cabinet, and we test it there. Hopefully everything will work. Alright, the cabinet is totally clean, vacuum, and we put this panel here back together. This vinyl was coming off, so already there. So we are ready to install the radio, and then we're going to install this. Alright, let's test the radio to see how it's performing. It's working finally. Darn thing is working. Now we're gonna test this. Before we testing this, we're gonna hook up the Bluetooth to this. All right. To upgrade your system to Bluetooth, these are the two units that you need. So your system be able to accept Bluetooth. Definitely purchase this one. I'm going to add both of them in the description section of this video. I tried several of them and this worked the best. This is how you do. You just connect it here like that. Connect these two RCA jack to back panel of the radio. There are 4 RCA jack located there. I hooked this up to the right section because it performed much better. Also from the radio section, you just turn the dial knob to tape, and really that's all you have to do. It performed unbelievable with Bluetooth. Definitely try it. You're gonna really enjoy it. Let me show you how it's performing. All right, it's back here. It's working. It sounds incredible. Everything works. Very happy with the results. Let's test the turntable to see how it's performing. It worked incredible. Man, that is awesome. Everything is working on this. It sounds unbelievable. Man, everything is working great. I'm very happy with this. That's awesome. I'll be honest with you, it takes so much time to make these videos, editing, uploading, and make sure there's enough information that it actually makes sense, you know, if you want to follow. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you. Enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.